Hey everyone, welcome back to HM Learnings. I am Harshita, the creator of HM Learnings, where students come to clear their concept and to get the study material. Make sure you subscribe our channel. So today we are back with the next video of the respiratory physiology, and the title of today's video is partial pressure of respiratory gases at different altitudes. So in this video we are going to talk about that how the atmospheric pressure changes with the change in the altitude, and then how the partial pressure of the atmospheric gases also changes with the altitude. And then we will also see that when you are breathing the air from the atmosphere, so there is a difference in the partial pressure of the gases in the atmosphere as compared to the partial pressure of the gases in your lungs, and is that those partial pressure of the gases inside the lung also differ with the change in the altitude. So all these questions will be answered in this video. So let's start the video. So first, I hope you all already remember that we have discussed about what is partial pressure and what is Dalton's law. So if you haven't remembered, I recommend you to watch the physics of gas part 1, in which we have discussed about the partial pressure. So partial pressure is defined as the pressure exerted by an individual gas in a mixture of gases. And if you want to know only the partial pressure of oxygen, we can calculate it as percent of oxygen, which is 21%, into the total atmospheric pressure at that particular altitude. So what is basically the sorry, this is altitude, not attitude. So basically what is mean by altitude? So all the places, all the cities in the world, they are having a value of altitude. So for example, altitude is basically what is their height as compared to the sea level. So sea level is taken as a reference point, and we assign the altitude level of the sea level as 0. So then we consider the altitude level above and below the sea level. So if we can see the altitude of the Delhi in the Google, we can see that it came around 200 to 250 meters above the sea level. So considering sea level as a 0 point, up 200 or 250 meters above the sea level is the Delhi. So that is the altitude of the Delhi. So then you can have this question, what is sea level? Basically, sea level is the average height of the sea surface from the depth of the ocean, from the land of the ocean. That is the average height of the sea level, and to the sea surface, which is we consider as a sea level, and we use it as a reference point to give the altitude points, yeah, altitude level to the other cities, other places. So sea level is considered as zero level, zero altitude, and this is at this sea level, we take the atmospheric pressure as 760 mmHg. So this is from 760 mmHg only we calculate all the partial pressure in the respiratory physiology. This is taken as a standard value. Now what happens if you move away above from the sea level? Suppose if you are in Delhi, so if you move above the sea level, this is above the sea level and this is below the sea level. So what happens to the atmospheric pressure if you move above and below? So if you move above the sea level, the air becomes lighter, the density of the air reduces, the number of air molecules reduces, or basically you can say the weight of the air layers over now, like if you are present here, so the number of air layers which are present above you now are less. So the weight exerted by the atmosphere, the pressure exerted by the atmosphere now is lesser as compared to when you are at the sea level. So you can remember that basically the air becomes lighter, it is less denser. So therefore, as you move above the sea level, the atmospheric pressure decreases. So here the atmospheric pressure decreases as you above the sea level. So we take the reference point here to understand this whole video. So we take the highest altitude on the earth, which is the summit of Mount Everest, which is I think around 8,000 meters above the sea level. So at this level, the atmospheric pressure is very less, which is 265 mmHg. Okay, And now if we see what happens to the atmospheric pressure below the sea level, so now the number of layers which are now exerting the pressure on you is more. So the atmospheric pressure is higher as you move below the sea level. So if we take the point as the Dead Sea is the point which is having the lowest altitude on the land in the earth. It's not the lowest point on the ocean, it's the lowest point on the earth, and its atmospheric pressure is around 800 mmHg. So you can see that as you move below the sea level, the atmospheric pressure has increased. If you move above the sea level, the atmospheric pressure has reduced. So if you remember that when you go on vacations, you go to mountains, you feel little difficulty initially. Maybe the older ones with you feel difficulty initially because the atmospheric pressure is less. So that shows that it is actually affecting our respiratory physiology. So now we will see how exactly it is affecting. So okay, so this is what I am telling you. At the sea level, which is considered as a zero altitude, the total atmospheric pressure is 760 mmHg, which is 100%. In the bracket it is 100%. In the bracket it is a percentage. So the 79% of the this 760 mmHg is the 597, which is the atmospheric pressure at sea level, partial pressure of nitrogen at sea level, 597 mmHg. This is a formula which we have used for oxygen. If you multiply 20.84 percentage with the atmospheric pressure at the sea level, which is 760 mmHg, you will you will get the 159 mmHg, which is the partial pressure of oxygen at the sea level. Okay, and similarly you can see the atmospheric pressure of carbon dioxide also and the water also. Now what happens below the sea level? If we see Dead Sea, which is around 439.78 meters below the sea level, so the atmospheric pressure here is 100. So again we calculate the 79% of 800, which comes around 629. So you have seen that not only the total atmospheric pressure which has increased, but also the pressure of individual gases, that is the partial pressure of individual gases, also increases. So with the change in the altitude, it's not only the total atmospheric pressure which is increased, which is changing, but also the pressure of the individual gases, that is a partial pressure of gases, also affecting in the same direction, and all the gases are affected in the same direction. It's not going to be only one gas, all the gases. So there is increase in the atmospheric pressure from 597 to 629. So it's partial pressure of nitrogen from 597 to 629, and partial pressure of oxygen have also increased. If you calculate 21% of 800, you get 167, and other gases are not that much affected because they're not contributing that much. Their percentage is very less. So majorly it's the effect on the nitrogen and the oxygen. Now if you see above the sea level, if we have taken the reference here as a summit of Mount Everest, which is around 8,848 meters above the sea level. So here the total atmospheric pressure is 265, and if you calculate again the 79% of nitrogen here, of 79% of the total atmospheric pressure, which is 265, gives you partial pressure of nitrogen, which is only 208, and oxygen is only 55. So you see that you can't survive without the oxygen cylinders. You can go to Mount Everest without oxygen cylinders for sure. So again, these two are not that much affected. They are also affected from 0.3 to 0.1 and 3.7 to 1.33. So this is how as you change the altitude, the atmospheric pressure changes, and the partial pressure of gases are also going to be changed. But the point which you can remember from here, that the percent value is constant, and you are multiplying it with the atmospheric pressure at that particular altitude. So if you know what is the altitude, you can know what is the atmospheric pressure, and then you multiply the percent value of that particular gas to get the partial pressure of that gas at that sea level, at that altitude. Now another thing which is important is that this atmospheric pressure is actually the pressure of a dry air. It's not the pressure of the air which is having the water also. Now in the table, the water component is also there, but it is very less. Therefore, we haven't minus the water vapor pressure from the total atmospheric pressure. But if the water component is high, we have to minus it, because this is only going to tell you the partial pressure if you minus the total atmospheric pressure from the dry air, not from the humidified air. So now we know that in the atmosphere, what is the pressure. Now if we are at the sea level, we are exposing to the air which is having these partial pressure. So if we move on, what happens to the air when we breathe inside? So this is the air in the environment, and this is the tract. I'm just drawing a tract, and now the air has entered inside the lungs. Okay, so what happens when it enters inside the lungs? Immediately after entering your airways are actually moisturized. The fluids are covering their surface. So what happens at 37 degrees Celsius, your air which enters inside the airways, it gets humidified. That is about 47 mmHg partial pressure of water vapor is being there. So when the air was in atmosphere, if this is the atmosphere, it was contributed by the total atmospheric pressure was contributed by oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, plus little bit very less of water. Okay, or I just remove it. Now when you are seeing the composition of the air inside the body, it's here it is also 760 mmHg, because you are right now breathing at the sea level. And here if you see, here also the sum will be 760 mmHg. It is contributed by oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, but now water is also the contribution in it. The water vapor is also present in the air, and it is having how much contribution? 47 mmHg of the contribution at 37 degrees Celsius. So now what happens to the gas? So that means that when you're breathing air inside your lungs, the partial pressure of gases inside your lungs are not the same as they are in the atmosphere, even when you're at the same sea level. So let's see in this particular table. Okay, so you focus on this middle column right now at sea level at 0 altitude. So what happens now? Your water is contributing a major part of the total atmospheric pressure, which is 6%, around 6%, which is 47 mmHg of the partial pressure. So now how can you know the other partial pressures? So total sum is 760 mmHg till the total barometric pressure is still 760 mmHg. That means the other gases, they must have replaced by the water molecules. So that means that the partial pressure of other gases must have reduced. So how can you calculate that thing? You can calculate it by using a formula, which is this formula. Like if we want to calculate for the oxygen, we know 21% is the value which is there. We know what is the altitude barometric pressure at the sea level. It is 760 mmHg. Then you minus the water vapor pressure at that temperature, which is 37 degrees Celsius. So here it will minus 47. So now it will be 0.21 of 713, which will be equal to 149.3 mmHg. So this is how you can calculate the partial pressure of oxygen when it enters in your airways. Okay. Similarly, you can calculate the partial pressure of nitrogen. So it is around 79%. So 0.79 into 713 will give you around 563 mmHg. Okay, so again the carbon dioxide is not affected that much because of very less percentage, but the gases which are affected are the nitrogen and the oxygen by the water. So this is how you can calculate. Now how I've written these values, you can say, okay, this is the change. This is not 78%, this is now 74%, because this is now 563.4 divided by 760. So this will come as 74%. What is 79%? 79% is of 713, because 713 is now the atmospheric pressure of the dry gas. So 21%, 79%, these percent are valid for the atmospheric pressure of dry air, not the humidified air. You have to minus the humidified water vapor pressure from the total atmospheric pressure. Only then you can apply the 79% and 21% to calculate the partial pressure of gases. Now what happens if you are now going to Dead Sea? Okay, so you have come to the below sea level and now you've started breathing air here. So what happens now? You are exposed to the partial pressure of the gases at the Dead Sea, which we have calculated in the previous slide. And you already know it is 800 mmHg. It is higher than at the sea level. You are exposed to the higher partial pressure of nitrogen, higher partial pressure of the oxygen. So ultimately, whatever you are breathing inside will be higher than what you are breathing when you are at the sea level. So you can see here that the partial pressure of oxygen is actually more when you are breathing at the sea level. This is the same thing which has happened in the previous slide also. So there also, because the atmospheric pressure itself is higher, the partial pressure is also higher. Therefore, whatever gets inside your body is also higher. But the problem, not the problem, but the fact here is that the water component which is inside your body is the same only. It hasn't changed because the partial pressure of water vapor inside your body stays constant irrespective of the altitude. But your body temperature needs to be constant. So if you are going from here to there, if you are going above sea level, below sea level, or at the sea level, if your body temperature is maintained, if it is at 37 degrees Celsius, the water vapor pressure inside your body, irrespective of what is the atmospheric pressure outside the body, it will remain 47 mmHg because it is not dependent on the altitude. It depends only on the body temperature. So it will be 47 mmHg. So now from 800 you will minus the 47 mmHg, which comes around just a minute. Okay, so now you will do what? You will minus 800 minus 47, and then you calculate 21% again, 0.21. So this will give you 0.21 into 753 equal to 157 mmHg. And now you can divide 157 mmHg with 800 into 100 to get the 19.6 as a percentage. This is how you can calculate for the nitrogen also. For nitrogen also it will be 0.79 800 minus 47. And here you will be 0.79 into 753, which will come as 592 mmHg. Okay, now what happens if you move above the sea level? Now again here what will happen? The same thing applies here also, but it contributes now 17.7%. So as you are moving, as you're moving above the sea level, what triggers the hypoxia, what makes your partial pressure of oxygen lower inside the body is, number one, that the atmospheric pressure is low, therefore the partial pressure of oxygen is low. Number two is the water vapor pressure, which is still 47 mmHg. So 47 mmHg of 760 mmHg is lesser, it is only 6%, but 47 mmHg of 265 is around 17.7%, which is a bigger percentage right now. So basically it replaces lot of oxygen. Your alveoli is having more partial pressure of the water, and your not only, and then the third component which makes hypoxia when you're at the high altitude is the carbon dioxide, because your body is active, it is producing carbon dioxide also. So your alveoli is getting alveolar oxygen is getting replaced by the lower PO2 levels, secondly the water vapor pressure, and thirdly the carbon dioxide pressure. So all this makes the person prone to hypoxia. Now you can see that the oxygen is very less here, only 17%, 45.4. So how it is calculated? Again 0.21, 265 minus, I erase the ink. Okay, so it will be 0.21, 265 minus the 47. So this will give you 0.21. I don't remember what is, you minus it, so it will come around 45.4, which is the 17%, which is very less right now, 17% of 265 mmHg. And so this is how it happens. Okay, now we see what now we compare both the things. This table compares the composition of the air in the atmosphere and in the airways at the same level and at the below level and at the sea level. So let's see at the sea level first, because this is the one which we are going to use a lot. This is important in understanding the high altitude physiology. Above sea level is important for understanding the high altitude physiology, and below sea level is important when we are going to talk about a decompression sickness. Okay. So at sea level, you can see nitrogen is 597. It is 5 in the airways. It has come to reduction to 563.4. What is contributing to reduction? This water component is contributing to the reduction. And then oxygen has been reduced also. It came to 149.3. Then carbon dioxide is not affected that much. So then we see below sea level. So you can see here also the factor which is contributing maximum is the water component, which is reducing it. So if you see below sea level, it is higher. Both the cases are higher than the at sea level. If you see at sea level is lower as compared to the below sea level, and above sea level is lower than the at sea level. Okay, and here also if you see, it's the water component which is contributing to the maximum. So we have talked about the composition of the air in the atmosphere with respect what happens at different altitudes, then the partial pressure at different altitudes, then also when it enters in the airways at different altitudes. So air has entered in airways at different altitudes. It was different as compared to the atmosphere. Atmospheric pressure, the partial pressure of gases were different. But what happens when they enter inside the alveoli? So is there further change in the composition of the gases when they enter inside the alveoli? The answer is yes. And what are the reasons of it? So we are going to cover this thing in the next video. These are the references for this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Please comment down your suggestions for the upcoming video. Till then, keep learning.